Hello, welcome back to Car Crazy Norwegian. As I showed you in my last video, I've purchased an MG with a possible damaged engine. Now, the story is it's just died out on the previous owner. It was just sitting in idling, and then it stalled out, and it made, as he told me, a rather unpleasant noise. So now I thought I'll bring you with me, and we will start with removing the spark plugs. So yeah.
So, then we start with removing the spark plug cover. That's only two 8mm bolts. And then we have the spark plug coils here. This is waste spark ignition system. So it has one coil feeds two cylinders with spark, and these are fastened down with two 8mm bolts. Lift the coils gently up and then loosen the connector. That one, and a wire that goes to this cylinder. Then we take out the spark plugs. This is very exciting. I'm very curious what actually happened to this engine. Take a look at this. It's absolutely soaked in engine oil. Absolutely soaked. Oh my God. So cylinder number 2. This looks rather alright. A little bit high distance, but nothing here that would suggest it shouldn't run properly. This also looks alright. These are NGK. Yeah, it has good spark plugs. Decent ones. And then let's go to cylinder number 4. This also looks rather decent, but it is kind of wet, which I find a little bit suspicious. Do we find coolant down there?
Okay, so I cannot find anything obviously wrong just by checking down the spark plug holes. Only thing it's possibly because the spark plug in cylinder 1 was full of oil on the threads. That's just a failed valve cover gasket, which is quite normal. Cylinder 2 and 3 dry, looks very nice, and there is a little bit of moisture down in cylinder 4, but not very much so that it would mean something's terribly wrong. So I think the next thing to do is to take off the timing cover to see if the timing belt is in place.
So, let's take the timing cover off.
Okay, so now we have loosened and taken out all of the bolts for the timing belt cover, all 8 millimeters, except the lower one, but that is a bolt that you don't take all the way out. That's just a groove that the upper cover sits down in. So you can just gently pry the cover up to see if we can find anything interesting. Cannot see anything immediately wrong. So I cannot see anything obviously wrong just by taking the cover up. So what I will do now is I will take out the inner arch liner and get to the crank pulley and turn the engine around to top dead center, or at least turn it around some revolutions to see if it turns nicely and freely around, so there isn't anything obviously wrong with like the bottom end of the engine, or yeah. So yeah, I'll just remove this one and we'll have a look. Okay, so I just had to forget the inner wheel arch liner, because as usual all of the clips are junk, like on the other two of my cars. So I have to replace all of them. So I've just put a long bar down here with the 22 millimeter socket, because that's what you need on the bolts on the crank pulley. So now I'll just turn the engine gently, some revolutions, and see how it feels.
Okay, finally, it's a little bit tight for space down here, so at least let's try. Now it's
On top dead center at least. So far it doesn't seem to be any kind of thing wrong internally, but we'll wait and see.
the banging sound is just me hitting the engine mount.
There we are at TDC. And nothing feels unnormal at all. So why this car has suddenly decided to stop, I don't know. Because I don't understand. You cannot be as lucky as just a cut out fuel pump or something like that, because that would be too easy. Yeah. There is a spare fuel pump in the car. I don't know if that's a sign, but I'm not taking any, I don't expect any easy outcome of this, because that just doesn't happen. At least it doesn't to me. So Now I think I'll take another look down in the cylinders now that the engine is at top dead center to see just if I can see anything suddenly changed since I looked down there a little while ago. Okay, so far nothing seems to be too much out of the ordinary, really. So what I think I will try to do now is take the battery out, because that battery is absolutely dead. It won't take charge, nothing. It's because the car has been sitting too long. So I will borrow Rosie's battery, the battery from a Row 75, and put it in here and see if even the fuel pump works. So yeah, let's do that. What I can say is that there was some kind of noise or fuel pump. The lights, front lights came to life suddenly for a little while. So yeah, let's see. Fuel pump's obviously priming, and it has got a quarter of a tank in it. How very strange. Now I think what I will do is, remove the fuel pump fuse and try to just turn the engine over with the spark plugs out. So yeah. Okay, so now I have jacked the car down again because I had to pull it a little bit longer forwards to clear that car, to get access to the passenger foot compartment and remove the fuel pump fuse, which I now have done. So now I will put the phone back on the holder of the tripod and try to spin the engine around now that the spark plugs are out. So yeah, let's see what happens. At least I couldn't sense anything out of the ordinary. So now I'll get you down from the tripod and let's have a look at the cylinders. Okay, so far nothing seems to be obviously very wrong. So there's no, I had a little look underneath the car to see if there is any obvious leaks. I cannot see any drips of oil or coolant, if there is something in here at all. So God knows where the coolant has found its way, but there doesn't seem to be like anything in here. So God knows what's happened. But it cranks seemingly fine. The fuel pump primes. Obviously, fuel comes to comes to the engine, because I got fumes of petrol after spinning it around without the spark plugs. I could smell some petrol fumes. So obviously it's getting fuel. So what do you think? Should we have a try? Put the spark plugs back in, or the fuse to the fuel pump, and see if it will actually start. I am kind of confused right now why it would suddenly stop so violently, as I understood it did. So yeah, I think I will give it a try. Okay, so now the fuel pump fuse is back in again. So now let's put it back together again. Okay, so what do you guys think? Should we give it a try? This would be very exciting, won't it? Like that. I want it, if it will actually run, I won't let it run for a very long time, because I don't know how much coolant there is in this car. If there is any, doesn't seem to be anything, but yeah, let's see if it at least will fire up. That fired up rather rapidly, didn't it? It has a check engine code. The check engine light is on, and it's clearly, it isn't running very nicely, I'd say. It has a clear misfire, yeah. But I cannot hear any typically bad sounds. bit smoky, but so far it only seems to be condensation. It has been sitting around quite a while, so. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is missing quite clearly. That paw, 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 paw. It is on the smokier side, I'd say, but you can clearly, there are some valve tappets that are a little bit noisy, but let's check the temperature. So, what made this engine stop? I don't know. It gets fuel, it has spark, it is misfiring slightly. So, I don't know, you don't know if it actually can be that it has failed its gasket again, if maybe there's a head bolt that isn't torqued down good enough. Humans forget. It can happen, but I cannot hear any obviously bad sound from the engine, apart from a couple of tappets that's lacking a bit of oil pressure. to say it is quite a bit on the smoky side. Temperature gauge is up to normal now, but have a look when I rev it up. Of course, there is cold air coming in from the outside, so a little bit of smoke we have to consider as normal, but a little bit too much, you think? I'd say it's a tad too smoky. I'll just see at least if the clutch is working. That clutch was actually very, very smooth. Yeah. I think, just wait a few moments before I close the gate. There is some banging sounds in the car. What can that be? There is some coolant in here now. Just take the handbrake off and see if that's the sound it makes. It's very strange. That's very weird. What is that? It's like a knocking sound coming from the boot. Have any of you heard that sound before? That's the weirdest sound I've ever heard. Huh. is that funny sound? Can you hear that? Huh. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard before. Now it seems to have stopped. No, there it was again. Yeah. Looks like it needs a bit of work on the sills. Quite common thing. What is that sound? Huh. It's the weirdest thing. I've never heard anything like that from a car that doesn't run. Not know if it's heat from the exhaust or what it is. Very strange. Yeah, whatever. I think the only thing I can do now is putting it back together again and see. Yeah, come back to it later because I'm starting to get a bit hungry, but I am kind of amazed because I didn't expect this, quite simply. So, yeah. I do sense the distinct odor of coolant here. So, might be something leaking or weeping slightly. The MG Rover perfume, I guess you can call it. The timing cover, I'll just put in the car for now, because I think I will get back to this car later. So how do we analyze that diagnosis, ladies and gentlemen? To me at least, it is quite a surprise, because I was pictured a car that wasn't running with a possible damaged engine. I'm not complaining. I'm absolutely not complaining, because yeah, I'm a bit shocked really, because I didn't expect this at all. So yeah, I think we have to do some more detailed diagnosis and analyze on the engine later to find out why it has a little bit of misfire. It runs quite well, but it doesn't sound great, as you've heard. So maybe it's a bad catalytic converter. It sounds like it possibly can be, and maybe faulty oxygen sensor, possibly, or a lambda sensor, or what you want to call it. Yeah, but anyways, on that bombshell, should I say, thank you for watching. See you again in another video. Goodbye.